What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. This is a very, very special episode. I know I said it all the time, but listen, I got a legend in the building this time. I mean, this guy is a wrestling icon, and we're going to talk to him in a second. But first off, you know what to do. Make sure you like this video, share it, tag your friends, let everybody know about this one. And also, you can check us out on Mize TV on Roku, so you can watch the video. And now, we are on 106.1 WAKT FM, Toledo's community radio station, so you get us in your ears. You can look at us, all these beautiful faces today, man. But with that being said, let me start off with this. I have my author friend, and I've had him on the show multiple times. And he's got a new book that he wants to talk about. Mr. Vincent Berry. How you doing, Vince?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Always a pleasure, man. Now, you're doing something a little different this time. Because normally when we do this show, it's me and you talking about the book. But this time, you wrote a book. It's called Wrestle, about Black Bart. But I actually got the person who the book is about on air as well. Now you're trying to make me all nervous, man. I don't know how I can handle this, man. All right, calm down, Whip. We can do this. Black Bart, how are you doing today, man?
All right, brother. Everybody out there, boy. I've spent many nights in motels out there in that territory where you're from. Wrestling Ronnie Garvin and National Strap out there, and Sam Houston. It's unbelievable.
Man, I can imagine. And we're going to get into some of that today. But first, I want to thank you again for coming on. Like I said, this man is a wrestling legend, guys. And I want to first start with, how did this collaboration even come about? Like, Vince, how did you get a hold of Black Bart, man?
Well, when I was promoting the short story books, my pro wrestling vault one and two, I came across a guy that I was had a podcast that I was that I work with on the Lance book, and see if he would bring me on for the to promote those short stories. And he wasn't doing a podcast, but he was helping wrestlers, with bookings and like signings and conventions and stuff like that. And he had told me it was just like like one of those things where you're hanging up the phone. Oh, by the way, I've been talking to Black Bart, and he's been looking for an author. Is it something you'd be interested in? And I was, but I'm real careful about taking on projects when I'm buried in a project, right? So, because I want to be able to finish the one I'm working on and not get buried and not finish anything. So anyway, when I finally got my head above water, I reached back out to him. He got me in touch with Bart, and Bart, the first time I called Bart, I just said, "Hey, Bart, it's Vinny." He goes, "Dadgummit, Vinny, I've been waiting for you to call me." And that was that. And matter of fact, he was like, "So we're going to do it, right?" I said, "Well, why don't we just talk for a couple weeks and get a feel for each other?" And, I said, "Bart, you might not even like me in a couple weeks, man." And he said, let's just,
That part was
what?
What'd you say, Bart?
That part was true.
Okay.
About weeks went by and I didn't like him at all. No, I'm just playing, man. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I didn't mean. It's a joke, brother. It's a deadgum joke, Vinny.
I know it.
But
yeah, that's how it came about. We just started working on it, and you know what? It was one of those projects that really got me excited because of, just first off, it was a challenge trying to put 30 years into this, right? 30 years plus into this, but we're really happy with what we came up with.
Absolutely, man. Now, Bart, what made you initially want to even do a chronicle of your wrestling history?
It's I don't consider it a history. I consider this matter of fact, I consider this little puppy right here. It is You know, I've held major belts and major territories. I've been a world heavyweight champion in 4 or 5 of them. I've been world heavyweight tag team champions in almost all of them. And with but things become very, very precious to you in your heart and your soul and when I got this, when Vinny said, okay, we're publishing it, you know, I couldn't believe it. It was like, you know, it's like wanting to wrestle in Madison Square Gardens and never getting to. It's like wanting to be a world heavyweight champion in any professional wrestling or any sport really. And when this book come and I had it in a box, the box of them right here, and I opened the box and right at the top, this was looking back up at me when I opened it, and it's like when you have something like this and you make something like this, it becomes part. This is my heart. This is my soul of of wrestling and stories that I lived and that I try to tell them, and I tell them from the heart, you know, and they're true, very, very truthful. There's no lies in here. There's no fabrication. This is in my view of the stories and the guys that I was around was oh man, it's just so hard. It's so hard to put in words that this belongs inside my chest, you know, uh, because this is my biggest accomplishment that I have ever achieved. I mean, who would have thought old Rick Jones, Harris Lane, Halton City, Texas, uh, would have been a world heavyweight champion, would have been any kind of a champion in professional wrestling, let alone write a book or my book. So yeah, Benny wrote it, but it's my stories. And it's his too. I mean, he's part of it as much as I am, because I felt like when Benny, when as I read, and I can't read real well, I can't see real well, but my wife has already read this book from cover to cover, and she cried, she bawled, she laughed, she laughed out loud, gut laugh, which to me that was a big accomplishment for me, hearing her enjoying it and everything. And if everybody would could think of their most wanted thing, most wanted they wanted to do. So, and I couldn't. My deal was, see, I can't write very well, I can't spell very well. I was an athlete my whole life, and back when I was an athlete, brother, they bring tests to you in the dressing room, and you sit down there and with the book and take the test out of the book, right straight out of the book. And that's how we pass. So
Okay.
by the time we graduated high school, I graduated high school and went to Howard Payne University. But brother, it don't mean nothing if you ain't learning nothing but football. And that's, I mean, state of Texas, you're a football player. That's what you learn, football.
For
And
sure.
if for the book, it means so much to me, uh, that I can lay anything I've accomplished in my life, in my history, or anything that I have accomplished that was good. This is the goodest. This is the goodest of. This is the goodest of all of them.
I love it, man. I love it.
I don't. I mean, I tell and some of these stories are in this book that they're hard. They're going to be hard to believe, but you got to understand. We were young. We were young, brother, and we done stuff back then that was unheard of. We wrestled 7 days a week, and 3 or 4 times on Friday, 3 or 4 times on Sunday, 2 or 3 times on Sunday, or vice versa. But when you had TV, you could wrestle 8 or 9 times in one night. Doing Atlanta TV was not doing WWF TV. I wrestled 13 times,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I sent word back to Vince. I said, "Hey Vince, you want me to wrestle again? You can take a flying leap on this." And he of course I got my notice about 3 weeks later. But the thing, you asked me, how I feel about this book, and I think you ain't got enough time for me to sit here and explain why and how. Brother, Vinny's how, Vinny Berry's how, and you get this dadgum book on Wrestleville, and you can get it on Amazon, and yeah, I think Vinny, get them on that. If you get them on Wrestleville, they're signed, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the only way you can get a signed copy. Bart signed some labels that we place in the book, so you'll get his signature for sure. And we definitely, want people to go to the website to see what else we have there too. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you really want something special, you got to get signed.
For
You got to
sure.
get the signed book.
Yeah.
Now, Bart,
Yeah,
I want to ask you a quick question. This book starts off really strong. I mean, you got a prologue from, you got JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, or as you know, Justin Hawk.
Yeah.
You got Sam Houston. But one thing about the book, I want to say this name, and you tell me what this name means to you. Dusty
Shoot.
Rhodes. There you go. That's what I want to see. What does that mean to you, man?
Dusty Rhodes was good gravy, brother. If it wasn't, I'll put it like this: if it wasn't for Dusty Rhodes, there would have been no Black Bart. Dusty Rhodes created Black Bart. I was once again, I was working in Pensacola, Florida, and he was running Tampa, Florida. And he called me and said, "I want you to come in as Black Bart and put J.J. Dillon with you, and I'm gonna put Ronnie Bass with you, and y'all gonna be the Long Riders." And with that, brother, we never looked back. We took it. Me and Bass took that thing and took off running with it. I mean, Long Rider jackets, the big gallon hats, the branding irons, the whips, the bull ropes, everything you can imagine we done out there in that Florida territory. And then we took it to the Carolinas. When we took it to the Carolinas, it went worldwide, and there's no stopping it, then. The Dusty Rhodes was like, he was my brother, he was my father, he meant so much to me that it's hard for me to talk about it.
Love it. Rest in
But
peace, Dusty
I
Rhodes,
I,
man.
I love Dusty Rhodes with all my heart, and most all the guys in this business are really, really good guys. And when you're around them for a long period of time, or you become to know one, it don't have to be me, it can be any of us really. And you say, "Dead gum, what a nice guy, what a nice people these guys are," as a man, you know. And Dusty was that way with me. I don't know how he was he may be completely different with somebody else, but with me, brother, he was there for me every time I called, every time I needed a job, anytime I needed a job, it was automatic. So why don't you call? Just drive your butt up here. That's where me and Dusty was. So.
Man, once again, rest in peace, Dusty. Love to hear those great stories about Dusty Rhodes, man. Now, another thing you talked about in the book was, like you said, 30 years in this business. I mean, you wrestled Fritz Von Erich, was one of your favorites of all time, man. And you got the actually interact, and you came up in North Texas. How was that, even being around somebody that you looked up to, and then you actually got to be in there with these guys, man? The Von Erich family.
One of the main things that blowed my mind. My dad was a Von Erich. He thought Von Erich, Fritz Von Erich was a god to my dad. You get in front of that TV on Channel 11 on Saturday night, you get in front of that TV, you call a work boot upside the head. I guarantee it. But me and Fritz, the closest we ever got to actually being wrestling each other, which it scared me to death. It was at Cotton Bowl where I was waiting on Kevin, and all of them has their own induction to the ring, even though it's a single match, and we've been waiting for a finish since 12 o'clock that 11 o'clock that morning. We've been waiting for a finish. But Fritz comes to ringside, and when they rent the Cotton Bowl, they rent like a quarter of it. They rent like a quarter of the Cotton Bowl. When they do, then they rope the rest of it off and got curtains. But anyway, it was big. It was a lot of people there, bunches of people there, and Fritz sit down at a table, and I didn't know what they were doing, but I was in the ring waiting, and I've been out there in this drizzling rain. It's about 46 degrees, drizzling rain. I've got my boots on. I got my blue jeans on. I got my tights on. I got shirt on top of his shirt. But he sits down at the table. And I'm walking around and around the ring, right? And I'm taking a kick at him. I walk again. I come by him. I kick at him again. I walk around, and kick at him again. Finally, Fritz comes up, stepped on the chair, stepped on the table, steps up on the side of the apron, and he just does this. Sticks that claw up in the air like that right there, and that place went nuts. I mean, no, they wouldn't another high spot going to top that. When Fritz stuck that claw up in the air, and I said, man, oh man, I got over there close to him, and I said, Fritz, if you'll just please sit back down in your chair. I won't say nothing more to you. I won't swipe at you. I won't do nothing. But this that close to getting to wrestle Fritz, it was exciting to me. And the rest of the boys to me were they were all great guys, and I mean they had problems, and all of us had problems, but you had to know when to say when. And with that being said, I don't want to go off into all that garbage. But to be in the ring with them was an honor. More especially Kerry, because that boy crushed that foot, broke that foot off, and put a thesis on his foot and kept on going. And that was unbelievable, unheard of unheard of back then. He did it. And I wrestled Kerry many times. I wrestled Kevin many times. I wrestled Mike a whole bunch of times. Now the rest of them, me and David were friends as far as traveling companions. Me and David were tight. If David was alive, we would have a territory right here today, and everybody would have a damn good job doing it. I'm sorry I said damn.
No, you're good, man. You're good. But like I'm telling you, and I want people to understand this book, man. You heard some of the stories of people he talked about, but I just want to read some names off to you guys. And this is why you got to go ahead and get this book on WrestleVille. We're talking about stories with Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. Fuji, Georgia Championship Wrestling, the Mid-South Territory. Now, if any of you guys are wrestling historians out there, you know how serious all these different people in eras were, man.
Yeah.
Bart, I want to say something real quick. You talked about being in the UWF, another huge promotion, but you made mention to Sting. And as we know, Sting is having his final match. You saw that young man when you were doing your thing. Like, when you see some of these guys become great stars, did you see it back then?
I did Sting. I polished Sting. Sting called me about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, about 6 months ago, he called me. It was shortly after I got diagnosed with cancer, and everybody that knows that, I'm kicking cancer's ass, and I'm going to continue to kick its butt, and I'll tell the devil to get behind me so quick it'll make his head swim, and if he don't like it, I'll drop Texas compactor on him and let him deal with that. But I lost all train. I lost all train of thought, brother. Dig me out of this.
Oh no, you're good, man. You're good.
Yeah, we were talking about Sting and how.
Sting,
Sting. Yeah, Sting
Yeah.
called and checked on him when he was sick. But when he says the word polish, that means that back then in the day, that the old timer, the veteran wrestler, spent a lot of time with the new guy, polishing him up and he's shining him up and making him, a better wrestler. And he did that for a lot of guys in the business. Dr. Dusty Williams, Sting, we could go on and on.
Road Warriors, Steiners, most all of them that come through when Bill Watts folded, almost every one of them come out of there. I was with them. I was Dusty put me and Bass with them to polish.
Nice. Well, I like I said, I don't want to give away too much of the book, but man, one other thing you talked about, I got to bring this up, was the opportunity to go to the WWF. That is an amazing story about the first time you were a little bit hesitant, man.
No, I didn't go, brother. I was offered a 3-day tryout, and I had been with Crockett for 20 years, or 15 years, or 10 years, or whatever. It seemed like a million years to me. But with when I did go up there, okay, it was just to show me how much money I could have made if if I had went up there when he wanted me to, and I've been on top main event. He didn't tell me I was going to be main event. He told me I was going up there for a 3-day tryout. As soon as Crockett and them found out that I was up there for a 3-day tryout, I'd have been fired. And then he didn't have nothing to do because I didn't go. And if he didn't like me, I said, hell, how can you not like old Bart? What the heck?
Now, Vinny, I want to go back to you for a quick second. Like I said, we got John Brashill Layfield writing the forward. We got Sam Hughes. How did you get those people involved in this book, man?
They're my friends. Sorry, Vinny, I didn't mean to walk on you. Go ahead, brother.
They're his friends.
That's all we need to hear. That's what man.
I love you, Vinny, you sapsucker, you.
So how does that feel too, Black Bart? Like, to have so many guys that you met over the years, and like you said, wrestlers are a family, and they still love you, they still connected. They didn't forget you, man, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, they haven't. But then a guy like me, it's hard to not to forget. I mean, I stick in your craw. But I ain't pat myself on the back, but I'm a very likable guy, and
For sure.
And the thing about it, my character is a mean, ornery old cowboy, that don't want to be jacked with by nobody, and I portrayed that too. I was trained, by old timers back in the 40s that wrestled in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I was Jack Kennedy, Buddy Bull Former, John Shaw was the main trainer, his gym, and they taught me, you take care of the business. You kayfabe the business. And if you don't kayfabe the business, you need to get out the business.
Yes.
And that's just what it works, brother. It's
Yeah,
just where it works.
Now, there's one story, and it is so good, I cannot let you even talk about it here. I want the fans to read about it, but I'm just going to ask you, and I just want a yes or no. We talked earlier, you said that some people might not believe some of your stories. The Undertaker story, true or false, man? You ain't going to tell the whole story, but is that real? Would you, yes or no? Are you shooting with us?
I am telling you the honest to God's truth, right? And take it for what it's worth. Now, some people, this is my truth.
Yeah.
What I believe, and what went down in my mind. Okay. Now, it can't just be a yes or no, because me and Undertaker are very, very good friends. We lived together in the Tennessee territory. We lived together making $50 a night when he was wrestling in Mummy as a mummy and wrestling as as all them dadgum Frankensteins and all kinds of stuff like that. And me and him still friends. And I don't want to say nothing, that's gonna
Right. For
light
sure.
him up. But
For
I will
sure.
tell you the honest to God's truth, and I'll tell him the honest to God's truth. And if he don't like it, he can kiss my ass. I mean,
For sure.
that's
No,
simple.
you're good. You're good. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You can't just say a yes or no question because
I
it
get it.
has, yeah, yeah. And which I want to ask you which story are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Because I didn't want to go. I didn't want to bring because I want people to read the book. But I was saying the one where that you might
Just
have had. You would have had the gimmick first. Well, they offered you the gimmick. That's
yeah,
what I was referring to. Yeah.
true story.
Okay.
Every word of it. Every
Okay.
word of it.
Good deal. Good
Yep.
deal. And guys, once again,
Yeah, he had
make
laid
sure
out
you
on it.
check that out. Make sure you read that story in the book. That is one of the most amazing stories, and it hit you really hard. I love that one, man.
It is honestly God's true story.
For sure, man. Well,
And
go
and
ahead,
if I
Vincent.
could chime in for a minute too, also, not only that story, do I like that story, but I like the story with Bruiser Brody and Otto Vance. I like the story with Kerry Von Erich. I mean, when you read those stories, even the story with Necro Butcher, when you hear these stories, and Necro Butcher, for those, he's a man who's synonymous with
Mhm.
deathmatch wrestling, and Bart doesn't care for deathmatch wrestling, but he trained that guy. And
Training.
so, it's,
One
I
of the
think when
best technical.
people,
Go ahead, Vinny. Sorry.
I think when people read the book and really give it some time to think, it's like, wow, the part that this guy had in professional wrestling, his role in professional wrestling. And here's the thing, a lot of wrestlers, they start at the bottom, they work their way up, and they get to the top, and they either, stay at the top, or they put
Mhm.
two guys over. Well,
Yeah.
Art's career was a little different in that regard, where he was at the bottom and he was in the middle, and he was at the top and he was in the middle, and he was at the bottom and he was at the top and he was in the middle, and he was all over the place. And what I respect so much about this was that he did his job.
Yes.
No
Yes.
matter, he might not have liked it, but he did it. There's a lot of respect for, someone who believes that they're capable of doing the job, but they get passed up, but they still do the job the best of their ability. My hat's off to him.
Salute to you for that, Barton. Real quick, I just brought up one more question. I'm glad he said that. You talked earlier about maybe doing 8 matches in a night, man. And you kind of talked about that in the book as well. A lot of these young boys don't know about that type of grind, man, at all.
We
So,
would go. Let me give you a Saturday starting at 7 o'clock, and you just wrestled that night before. You wrestled in Charlotte, or you wrestled in Greenville, the Coliseum, or the Charlotte Coliseum. You drove to Atlanta, got a room, got a couple hours sleep. Some of us, it snowed a lot up there. The go to Atlanta TV. Now, when you went to Atlanta TV, they didn't it wasn't just a 1 hour program and boom, it was over. You had to do cable. You had to do cable matches and all, 4 or 5 cable matches, and there wouldn't be but like 30. Some of them wouldn't even be 40 seconds long. 30, 40 seconds long. But but then after you get there, you get done there about 3:30. You got to cut promos. You got to cut interviews. Everybody's got a hangover and they don't want to do it. So whoever is the soberest had to cut all the promos and everything. And then you drive there. You would leave there, go get in your car, and drive to Columbus and do another a local TV station, and wrestle a couple of times there, maybe twice. To get the money, you had to have what was called a dark match.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, we got paid $50 for a TV. That was it. That was it. $50 for a TV. if you was in a dark match, you made a lot more.
See, nice to hear, man. This is see so many gems in this book. That's why you guys got to get it once again, man. And I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer, but Vince, I want you real quick to kind of say exactly once again why people should get this book and how they can get this book. And then Bart, I'm gonna go back to you too. But Vince, I want you to do that real quick, man.
Well, you can get the book at wrestleville.com. That's where you can get signed copies. Also, too, it is available on Amazon. I think people are going to be just amazed of what he achieved in his career, what he meant to professional wrestling, and some of the people that he was around, Dick Murdoch, Roddy Piper, the Von Erichs, Bruiser Brody, and again, I go back to the story of Bruiser Brody, but it's going to blow your socks off when, if Bart didn't go to that trip in Austria, had Bruiser Brody gone to Austria instead,
Still be
his
alive.
fate could have been totally different.
Exactly.
And so I think people are going to just really see the intricate role that he had in professional wrestling, what he meant to professional wrestling. He had the Dusty Rhodes stamp of approval. So I mean, wow,
Yeah.
let's just say that. And I've seen interviews with Dusty Rhodes talking about him and Black Bart on a couple occasions, talking about how, or him and Ron Bass, about how loyal they were. They were asking him, well, why would you bring these guys from here to there to there to here to there? He said, man, those guys were loyal. And so that, to me, I think you're going to find out how tough he is. I think the stories are entertaining, and it's emotional too. It's like, you do get sad, but you laugh. I found myself laughing too. And I'm just really glad that I was a part of this book, and, to be a part of it and to get to know Bart the way that I did. And, I never would have thought, when I was watching him at World Class, that I'd be writing a book about him. But, and he played one hell of a heel character. I mean, he was as believable can be. So, you can get the book at wrestleville.com. They got some signed copies there. And I think it's something that you're really going to enjoy. And it'd be one of those books that you tell people about.
For sure, for sure. And Bart, once again, man, thank you. And I just want you to give one more time, tell them why they should follow your story, man.
It all goes around, comes around, so to speak. It is, I trust me, I pay my dues, brother. I pay my dues. I can, there's so much stuff still out there that ain't been said yet, but I can tell you from the heart that if any reason that you think of it would be a good reason to go buy this book, because you get to know me.
I love this guy, man. I love this guy, man. Freaking awesome, man. Well, Bart, Vinny, thank you very much for coming on the show, man. I know, and listen, and to everybody listening, everybody watching the video, everybody in Radio Land, this one, Wrestle, but the Black Bart book, you want to go get it. Do not waste your time. Get it right now, right here, right now, man.
And real quick, it's called Wrestle Black Bart. It's like a play off a wanted Black Bart poster, right? So it's
exactly
Wrestle Black Bart.
Yes.
So make sure you guys get the book. And you know what? I want to hear some reviews too. So let me know once y'all get it. Look, this guy, man. He's still a worker. He's still, see, you're never a stop. You never stop being a worker.
Never, ever stop working, brother.
I love it, man.
Look at my wall behind me.
Fellas, once again, thank you for your time. And we will talk soon, brother. All right. Take care, guys. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.